response that I've seen from most people on Twitter has been really positive about what you guys have put together. And I want to thank you for giving us a chance to test it out, because we had a great time testing it, and it was really cool.
It was frustrating.
It was frustrating,
but
yeah.
It was fun.
But it was fun. I don't play a lot of games that don't hold my hand, and Colin and I don't even play a lot of PC games, so, like, is there any plan for console support at all? Is that something that you can talk about right now, or, like, maybe down the line? Or even controller support for the game? Anything like that?
There's going to be controller support. Yes.
Okay.
One of the programmers is really adamant about adding controller support to the products that he's involved with, and he's passionate about making sure that people can play the game with controllers. Obviously, it's not going to be what I would consider full controller support. There won't be like Rumble.
Oh, yeah.
And you will have to use your keyboard to type the commands into those consoles.
Right.
Still.
Right.
For on the PC version, but other than that, you can move around and shoot with the help of the controller, switch weapons and whatnot.
That's
regarding an actual console release, we would love to do that. Like we're gamers, ourselves, and a lot of us play on consoles too. I own a PS4 Pro myself, and I play some games on PS4. So yeah, we would even on it would be nice to put the game out on Switch, even just because it's such a weird, match this game and Switch. But we're sure there's an audience there as well.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the reality is, we're 9 people. We can't spread ourselves too thin,
sure.
And history has proven that simultaneous multi-platform release is hard, even for the bigger studios.
Yeah.
We're 9 people, so
right.
That's not going to happen. We're going to focus on the PC version for now. And if the PC version is successful enough, obviously that will give us the opportunity to,
bring it to consoles.
To release the game on consoles as well. And we would love to do that, but it's not realistic to approach that idea at this point in time. If first party, Microsoft or Sony would show enough interest, and like we would provide you with, help from a coder that could, port this or whatever, that would change everything. And we would suddenly have, if they give us the budget to hire someone to help us out, then that would make it possible to speed things up,
Well, I follow Phil Spencer on Twitter, so obviously I'll tweet this at him and get him involved, because, I mean, we'll get Phil Spencer on it. He'll help you guys out, I'm sure.
Yeah. Please do.
I guess one last question, Simon, before we get out of here. What was your guys' biggest challenge making GTFO so far?
That's a good question. There's been a lot of challenges. So it's not for a lack of challenges, really.
Yeah.
But I think it's like finding the pace of the game, creating a game that has the pacing that the Alpha Expedition have, and being able to maintain, confidence in that vision.
Okay.
Because it's such there's nothing out there really that's like it. People made some comparisons to this Russian what's the
the one that's based off the book?
Metro?
Yeah, Metro. You got it. Metro. Yep. Metro 2033.
I never actually played the Metro games, but
Metro 2033, yeah.
Is it close, anywhere close to
definitely
slow paced?
It's definitely slow paced, and it's definitely unforgiving as a game goes. And if you get into firefights, a lot of times like you might not survive and have to replay it. But that is fundamentally different from the game that you guys are making, because it's single player. Like there is no cooperative thing, but structurally as a game, in terms of the way it plays and how unforgiving it is, I could see that being a comparison to Metro for sure.
But there hasn't been a lot of like things to look at that that's proven to us that this could be successful.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think that and that's why in the beginning of when we started talking, that I mentioned that it's been such a relief to see that there is an audience. You know, there's enough people that has been like, I've been waiting for years for a game like this, and like, and some people even maybe might find out that they didn't know that they wanted a game like this, but now that they play it, they realize that this is something that's missing, you know. And obviously, no one wants every game to be like this game. Just like you want variety, or you want, you know, different things depending on your mood. But there's place for GTFO.
Absolutely.
But yes, there's a lot of like little details in the game that create what makes, you know, GTFO and the feeling of GTFO and the traversing the environment in GTFO, the feel the way it does, you know. And it has to do with your movement speed and the monsters, and how, you know, is it supposed to be like very few monsters that are hard to kill, or is it, you know, a lot of monsters that can't that die easily, but they have strength in numbers? So where's the balance? You know, how many monsters are the right amount? There's so much that goes on before you land where you get to where we are now.
Right.
So as you see GTFO now, or any other game really, you might think that, oh, it's obvious that this game is supposed to look like this. You just take it for granted that it looked like this from the get-go, you know. But there are always these experiments going on during development, where you try different things out, and that's been a long process. And obviously creating those tools that allow us to create these maps the way we're planning to. That took a lot of time as well, and we were ready to give up, you know, at several points, and we've been purchasing systems on the Unity
like the asset store.
Exactly. And tried them and looked at their code and looked how they solve, you know, problems, and maybe they've been more for like top down games or, you know, side scrollers and stuff like that, but we looked at those and realized that it's nothing that we can use,
right?
And so Ulf has like created, I think the system that we use now is like the fourth system that he built from the ground up.
Jeez.
So that's been a very long process to actually come to where we are now, and creating tools that can do what our tools can do now. And they're super fast, and they can adhere to certain logics where it's like the key that you're supposed to find is not locked behind the door that you need the key to get through, because then you can never find it, you know, things like that.
Right.
So you can't get those sort of bugs in there. It could get more complex, obviously, than it is now, but we can. The tools are very powerful, and it's taken a lot of time to make that as well. So I'd say maybe those two things are the ones that has been taking the most time, and therefore would be the most riskful, you know, in terms of investment, because anything that takes time is just something that experimentation is something that is scary. And that's why I guess you'd never see something like GTFO or any game that is like pushing the boundaries and innovating coming from the super big studios, because they cost so much, you know. They're like too big to fail risky sort of projects. So they will look at, you know, what we've done before. We'll take that concept, reskin it, change it enough so that there's enough new stuff to be interesting, but it's familiar enough to everyone that it's not a huge risk, you know.
That's
the developers know how to develop it. Consumers know what slot to put it in. Like, oh, it's a Halo game, but it's blah 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 or something. So the elevator pitch for GTFO is a lot more complex. Like it's harder to really put the finger on what sets GTFO apart from other games. To anyone who's played it, I guess anyone who's played it would agree that it's so different in terms of pacing, the pace of the game, and the feeling that it's something different. it's in the pedigree of Left 4 Dead and Payday, but those games are more arcadey,
right,
and faster paced. Right. You know, so this is something that we feel very passionate about, and we're so happy to see that there's an audience, and they've been hungry for it, and we're ready to satisfy them.
Yeah, I think it's definitely cool to see anybody trying something new. Colin has played a bunch of Jedi Fallen Order, which is a good game in its own right, but it draws from a lot of influences like the Souls games and Metroid a little bit, where you're finding tools to help you explore the world.
Yeah, I think those are the comparisons that Young made as well.
Yeah.